If America is taking the side of Russia in a conflict, it calls into question all American aid. Are we the baddies?
God, this is so fucking cursed. Holy shit.
You have to be thankful.
Like, for him to say that after this blow up is like, feels so malicious. That's an insanely malicious statement. I don't know, man. Would they really have like planned the whole thing out? I wouldn't put it past them.
This meeting with Zelenskyy, Trump, JD Vance at the White House. I posted on my Twitter yesterday. I said the most surreal thing I've ever seen in politics.
I hated this, and I posted about this on Discord. I hated this.
I titled this video, Are We The Baddies, after a sketch from that British show, That Michael and Webb Look.
Our caps. The badges on our caps. They've got skulls on them. Are we the baddies?
And this comes at an interesting time because I was just in Poland and Romania visiting NATO sites and talking with NATO members. One of the sites that I visited was JTEC, or the Joint Analysis and Education Center. Or Joint Analysis Training and Education Center, sorry, I'm still messed up. It is basically a schoolhouse that's founded by NATO, administered by Poland, and run by Ukraine. The whole idea is that Ukraine has learned a lot over the last 3 years from their war with Russia, and their instructors come to Poland to help teach NATO members what they've learned, things about drone warfare, robotics, unmanned systems. It's a really neat school. It's a great idea for a school, and NATO is learning a lot from these Ukrainian instructors. All right. While I was in Poland, I attended an exercise where I watched dudes in ghillie suits attack a trench line. And that seemed to me like one of the stupidest ideas I've ever heard. Like, why are you wearing some hot-ass ghillie suit to attack a trench line? But what the Ukrainians have found is that wearing a ghillie suit not only breaks up your outline while you're moving across the field to hit the trench, it also lowers your thermal profile, so it makes it harder for drones to spot you. And that's something that Ukraine learned the hard way, and that they're sharing with us now that they have this school, this JTEC. Ukraine never really asked for anything more than weapons and ammunition. They have tested their flesh against metal in order to remain free from the yoke of authoritarianism. And at one point during the White House conversation yesterday, Vice President JD Vance asked if President Zelenskyy had ever thanked the U.S. for our help. And yes, Ukraine has said thank you. They helped found JTEC. And it's where we get to learn all of Ukraine's lessons to see how we can apply them to the next war.
Just to be clear, they wanted like a personal thank you, a groveling is what they were looking for.
So not only have they thanked us, they've paid us in information. Also, every time Ukraine fires a Patriot missile, that data is going back to the U.S. So we've learned a lot on how to do air defense from incoming theater ballistic missiles just from that. The funny thing is that while this conversation in the White House is going on, I believe while the meeting was taking place, there was a funeral in Ukraine for a young American, a former Marine who went to Ukraine to volunteer, and he lost his life in the fighting. His name was Ethan Hurtrick. And this is how Ukraine says thank you. The real winner in this whole exchange was Russia, who seriously can't believe its luck. I mean, when you are handing content wins to RT, formerly known as Russia Today, you probably need to reevaluate your strategy, right? Kind of the scary thing for me was that my Newsmax colleague, Carl Higbie, posted on Twitter after the exchange saying, America is so back. And while I respect Carl Higbie, I think it's a rather short-sighted view. Mainly because if America is taking the side of Russia in a conflict, it calls into question all American aid. If America could hold back weapons systems because the president feels slighted or snubbed, or the president, the person the president's speaking to isn't doing what he wants him to do, that could put many weapons programs in danger, such as our sale of the F-35 to India. And,
he's dying. It's all over, boys.
The world will be a better, safer place if India has American weapon systems and with India operating the F-35. But why buy the F-35 from America if just saying the wrong thing to the president could get him to cut off your supply of parts. And I think that's the real takeaway from this interaction. If I were Australia, who just agreed to buy 3 Virginia-class submarines from the U.S. instead of buying some of France's submarines, I would seriously start taking a look at France's submarines again. I mean, yes, ours are quieter, but they come with a fondue machine. I wouldn't want to risk a major defense platform on the whims of a man who was looking for what he called good television, right? One of the things that President Trump said to President Zelenskyy was, "You're not winning this." And for almost 3 years, I have said there is no win. There is lose, and there is lose more. Russia isn't going to win, and Ukraine isn't going to win. Russia literally can't win, because the day the war ends is the day their economy collapses. But if America champions the cause of Russia, or even takes their side, or pursues sanction relief for Russia, then that gives Russia a soft landing and they can lose less. And that's about as close to a win as they're going to get. I think the only way Russia can lose less is if America supports Russia. America is supposed to stand for freedom and democracy, not good television. And the people of Ukraine have made it clear that they do not want to live under the control of Russia. And yet we just handed Russia a victory, essentially for free. Which begs the question, are we the baddies? If you want to help pay for my funeral expenses, grab the wind machine from Amazon or from Audible. It'll still help keep you busy until The Last Republic comes out. Also grab one of my Rock Out with Your Chalk Out aerosol shirts from Bunker Branding. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go die now.
Rip.
Wow, this.
One of the challenges for the next few years is we have to convince the American public, because the administration, it doesn't matter anymore. So like somebody linked this in chat. Norwegian fuel supplier cuts off U.S. Navy, urges others to join. Haltback Bunkers. Haltbach Bunkers, a major Norwegian fuel company, has stopped refueling U.S. Navy vessels and is urging European firms to do the same. Like, for the current admin, this is just a win. Because it means, oh, cool, well, we're just not going to waste money sending our Navy anywhere. We're not going to send them anywhere, and that's fine. But I think you just have to give a bunch of W's to the current administration, and then you have to hope that the American people don't want America to just fully withdraw from the entire world stage. He disrespected the United States of America and its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he's ready for peace. And they shot a fucking video? Why does Trump want to increase defense spending when he's pursuing detente? With China and Russia? I don't know. You're not asking the right, or you're not oriented in the right direction. I don't think there's like a coherent thing. I think we just like say things and then we'll do things. Like they want to cut the Pentagon because smaller budget good, but they want to boost the military because big military good. Even though these things are contradictory, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's not about like what is real or what exists in reality. It's just kind of like saying the things that make people feel good in the moment, and then you just move on to the next thing. So I think that it's probably detente. It's probably a waste of time trying to appeal to the current administration, and you just have to appeal, I guess, to the American people, hopefully. You only need like a few percentage points of people to make the party unviable, right? The Republican Party, that's all you have to do. You don't have to like convince like 50% of them, so. Destiny, from the USA point of view, what's the difference between Ukraine getting NATO membership and Ukraine having European troops there with a US backstop? Aren't they both tripwires for the US joining a future war via Article 5? My understanding is that Article 5 can only be triggered if your soldiers or your territory is attacked in your territory. I don't believe that Article 5 is triggered if your soldiers are attacked in another country.
A lot of people asked me to comment on President Zelensky's meeting with President Trump on Friday, February 28th, 2025 at the White House. Look, right now I'm sick. I went to urgent care yesterday. They said it's not the flu and it's not COVID. I'm stuffy, I've been coughing, I have a fever, so maybe I have some advanced genetically engineered Romanian freaking rhinovirus that I brought back to me from Europe. Right now I feel like I've been run over by a dump truck. And the fact is that my latest novel, The Last Republic, is on deadline. It has to get sent to the editor, so I need to get that done. So I'm going to make this quick because I need to get back in bed and die.
But convincing the general public means going against all news everywhere at this point. True. We need state governors to step the fuck up. Where's Gavin Newsom? Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot of like big things that have to change, and I just don't see... I don't even know if the will to change some of these things exists, so it's hard. Like, I think that Democrats, but like this is so hard because they love this messaging so much, or at least the ones that I see, or the progressive. The Democrats need to drop all the weird shit about like the billionaires and the donors. Like, it's not time to cut potential funders out of the party that might align with you in interests. Like, this is so stupid, the fixation on that. And the... Jesus, I don't know, man. It's a lot of dumb shit. All the left media that doesn't care about actual elections is so stupid. The silence from past presidents is the worst. It makes it seem way more normalized. Past presidents typically don't speak on current things. I believe, did Bush not support Trump in 2016 or was it 2020? And that was considered, I think, a pretty big deal that he said that. Like, I think past presidents just typically aren't involved in current politics. It's just like a norm, basically. But I mean, yeah, they should be now for sure. To be fair, Trump did win on that populism shit. It makes sense why leftists want their own populist message. Maybe a little. I don't know why the right is more, but it's more than just the populism though. It's all the crazy shit on top of it. Leftists have much better propaganda than center-left liberals, and they can harness populism much like Trump does. Yeah, but they don't like... It doesn't translate electorally, like anywhere. Like where are all of our communist socialist f***ing candidates winning elections? I think countering the Putin just wants peace narrative is an important one. Maybe going over all the different peace agreements that he's brought. But these people don't care about the facts. That's the difficult thing. Like, like, every time it's like, oh, well, we just need to show them all of these things in the past. Like, they won't believe in any of it, right? Or they only need, remember, on the conspiracy brain on the right, they only need one thing. They can be wrong on 19 things. They only need one right thing, and that's it for them. And then on the other side can be right about 19 things and wrong on one thing, and that's enough for them to discount it. Like, there's something else going on. Yeah. God, this is so fucking cursed. Holy shit. What if Putin breaks the ceasefire? Whoa! What if a bomb drops on your head? Like, what a crazy, stupid... People listen to this stuff in passing and trust the host to either push back or not bring on guests who lie. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess you just have to be of a certain, like... I don't want to say low education, because it's not really accurate. It's not what we're talking about. If you just don't have any baseline information about a topic, it's very easy for you to be misled, I guess. Every day, I go to bed, every night, praying for the deep state to save us. Please, deep state, where are you? Please, please, deep state, where are you at? Come, please.
And this is my podcast. The following is
We've already watched this video before.
a conversation with Satan, acclaimed CEO, entrepreneur, dear friend, and author of the recent best-selling memoirs, From the Depths I Shall Tempt Your Soul. Formerly known as Lucifer, Satan and I have become good friends, bonding over our shared love of literature, quantum physics, and creative methods of torture like this podcast. As always, I hope to approach this discussion with empathy, to bridge the gap, promote open dialogue, and let love triumph over all, so that I can secure more AG1 partnerships. I'm Lex, and this is my podcast that I made.
I'll start talking.
29 minutes, bro.
Well, today seemed to be a tempest in a teacup with world historical geopolitical consequences. That seems like a contradiction in terms in many ways, but I think...
As a speaker of both, I can tell you Zelensky's English is better than Lex's Russian. I still can't believe Lex had the audacity to interview my Russian. Bro, that was so cringe. It makes me want to interview some like Mexican diplomat or some bullshit and try to like flex my high school 1 Spanish. I want to have this conversation in Spanish because I think that it's better so we can understand each other, and then just like have a fucking translator for every other sentence. Oh my God.
That's what just happened. So my question is, was it a setup? Was it planned? Or are we really...
The whole thing, I'm not going to watch this whole video on this. The whole telling moment to me, but it's hard because Trump is so stupid that he could say fucking anything anyway. The whole telling thing to me was that line that he gave of, this is why we let it, I'm glad I let this go on for so long. I think that kind of gives the way.
United States of
Can
America.
I reiterate for the 7 millionth time, although it doesn't matter and I'm just a boomer screaming into the wind, how much I hate searching on the internet these days. We have all the advanced technology and so much shit. 10 years ago, if I would have searched for like Trump Zelensky interview or whatever, or meeting, I would have gotten the full video in like my top 5 results. Okay, here we get this. I just needed one more word, I guess. And now it's like clips and all this other stupid shit and what the and reactions and fucking Christ. But okay, we needed to add meeting here, I guess. All the LLMs and AI in the world couldn't figure out what I was looking for. Thank you. Oh, kept this going. There it is.
When you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful.
Like, for him to say that after this blow up is like, feels so malicious. That's an insanely malicious statement. Which makes me feel like this was, I don't know, man. Would they really have like planned the whole thing out? I wouldn't put it past them.
With the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side is exactly in love with, you know, I'd be so tough, but you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity.
Can you guys please stop saying they were ready to make the deal? Unless you can link me an article showing that Zelenskyy was ready to sign a deal with no security guarantees, you are wrong and retarded. I know that you want to link something that says, oh, Zelenskyy was going to Washington to sign the deal. Bullshit. There is no shot he was going to sign any deal that didn't have some kind of security guarantee baked in. I don't believe that. It would be pointless. It wouldn't be worth anything. I don't believe that that's the case, that he was probably going there with the hopes of signing one, but it was after getting some kind of security guarantee from the United States.
Is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask?
This is ridiculous, dude. It's nice to finally have some transparency. The transparency is truly welcome. What do you think explains the liberal media refusing to hold Trump accountable? I think that, I don't know. I think that they're still a little bit traumatized from being accused of like having Trump derangement syndrome over and over again. I guess it's pretty simple. Putin helped plan it out, got some questions that would trigger him, then told him to let him cook and seemed ungrateful.
Country. And I think it's ridiculous that we're focused on this border in Ukraine. I got to be honest with you. I don't really care what happens to Ukraine one way or another country. And I think it's ridiculous that we're focused on this border in Ukraine. I got to be honest with you. I don't really care what happens to Ukraine one way or another.
Right, let's bring in Tyson Barker, a foreign policy analyst who most recently served in the Biden-Harris administration working on Ukraine. Tyson, good to have you with us. If we can start from the beginning, what's your reaction to what happened in the Oval Office?
Well, it's clearly a moment that will live in infamy. President Trump had said it himself, and I think it's consistent with his leadership style at the end that this will make for good television. And I think it was, in some ways, a produced moment. I think in the run-up to
him saying that at the end, I feel like it reinforced everything I said about it. At the end of the day, these guys are influencers. Trump is the first influencer president. And all of this at the end of the day is just for clicks and attention.
This visit by President Zelenskyy, there were questions around whether the critical minerals agreement was being negotiated in good faith by the Trump administration. And the intervention by Vice President J.D. Vance in the Oval Office is, to be quite frank, in this way, highly irregular. So I think that there needs to be consideration as to whether or not this was actually premeditated.
One of the many things you allude to in this debate that was laid bare was the personality of Vice President J.D. Vance. What did you make of his involvement in last night's clash?
Well, he has become the tip of the spear for a specific faction of the Trump administration. He is somebody who speaks in an unvarnished way to the alt-right. He is somebody who's connected to alt-right media. And we see him trying to basically assume that role as ambassador for the bad cop side of the administration in multiple iterations, including at the Munich Security Conference a couple weeks ago. So that was
J.D. Vance? Am I missing things? Does he do alt-right stuff?
Consistent with this role, but it's hard to imagine a situation in which he makes such a statement, and it was quite condescending, to be quite honest, to President Zelenskyy in the Oval Office without the explicit predetermined permission of his boss.
And yet, Tyson, Zelenskyy says that his relations with the United States can still be repaired. As hard as it seems to imagine at this moment, how vital is it for the transatlantic relationship that Ukraine and US kiss and make?
I mean, it's the Peter Thiel types.
Oh. Up here.
It's absolutely essential. The Ukrainians' war effort is completely dependent on the provision of material and economic support from the United States. There are still a number of lines of effort. Some have been paused, as we saw emergency energy assistance.
Do you think some EU countries will or should cancel weapons deals with the US in future days and weeks? Maybe, yeah, hopefully. I think if Europe is going to move, listen to me, Europe, okay, as the American whisperer. If Europe is going to make moves to punish the United States for Trump's actions, it has to be as soon as fucking possible. Because if you drag your fucking feet on it, and if you wait for years, and in 3 or 4 years, you finally start to do it, people aren't going to feel the effects during Trump's administration. It can't be this kicking and dragging and whatever, and waiting and, whatever. And then 2 or 3 years, and I was like, okay, fuck, we got to get serious about this. Like, there needs to be a strong message right now. Like, it has to happen very soon, Yeah, I saw that Norway is refusing to refuel our shit. I think there should also be a huge boycott of everything having to do with like Tesla and shit. I think people should boycott the fuck out of that. Although I guess it's hard because if you already have a car, I mean, if you have a Tesla, you can trade it in anyway. Fuck it. You're probably wealthy enough to do it. Do you think that the average American cares about the suffering and deaths over there? Like, is this a possible valid attack in the midterms, or will it just not matter? I think in a way, Ukraine doesn't really matter at all to people in the United States. And I think in another way, it's like the most important thing to people in the United States. I think that the actual factual matters of things don't matter. Nobody really cares. Nobody knows what's going on. But the story and the narrative of what America is or what America should be or what America represents to the world, I think Americans do care about that. But again, the issue is that the concept of America has taken such a beating. It was basically, as much as I hate to say it, it was only the neocons that were holding up this concept of America being a good country. And it was like the left that was like, well, no, slavery and Christopher Columbus was a bad guy and we fucked over the natives and America's racist and evil and blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, you know, America, the neocons are there to simp for our big businesses and to simp for America. And the left is there to push us forward socially and, you know, hold us accountable, I guess, whatever. But now that the right doesn't like this country and it's like America, the big business and everything else, the left is not ready to pick up that banner. Even though Kamala kind of tried in being more positive about the United States, the feeling doesn't feel genuine or authentic there yet. So
was paused yesterday. The provision of future weapons is under consideration to be paused. This would have an extremely deleterious effect on Ukraine's war effort. But I have to say, and this is where Zelenskyy has a unique brand of leadership, and the man has stared death in the face and has a spine of steel, that they are not going to do anything everything to win the U.S. support. What the Trump administration has done in this case and what President Trump has said is basically, you are now at an asymmetric and weakened negotiating position. You are not in a position to ask for concessions in any kind of ceasefire.
Do you just reject the idea of the mineral rights leading to this administration's desire for security of Ukraine? I don't think mineral rights are a big deal at all. It's just some random retarded negotiating chip that they can use to bargain for whatever. I don't think it matters that much. And it's not like there are that many. Like Ukraine doesn't even have that much in terms of exploitable resources for how much Trump seems to be making a big deal out of it. It's just not.
Position. You are not in a position to ask for concessions in any kind of ceasefire. And that seems to indicate that Trump is biasing himself in any peace negotiations on the side of Vladimir Putin. And that is obviously very worrying for not only Ukraine, but also Ukraine's European allies who came out in force in the media yesterday after this event to reaffirm their support for Ukraine.
Yeah, Trump said Ukraine didn't have the cards to play. It did feel like he was also talking to Europe. Does Europe have any cards to play? If not, how does Europe arm itself with those cards to play in these negotiations?
Well, Ukraine's future and the beginning of this conflict, which started actually in 2014, was all about the movement of Ukraine geopolitically from Russia's orbit to the European Union's orbit. And
why does the Israel-Palestine conflict matter more to Americans than Ukraine? Older Americans have a very favorable view of Israel. I don't think Ukraine is the same. Most people, older people would have just saw it as part of the former Soviet Union and then its own country that had a lot of corruption issues, which it did for a long time. So we don't have that same attachment to Ukraine or the people of Ukraine or religiously to Ukraine like we do with Israel.
And in fact, if you remember the Maidan revolution, it was EU flags that the Ukrainians were waving on the Maidan. The European Union continues, with the UK and others, continues to be the biggest provider of assistance for Ukraine, economic and security, well, less security assistance, but economic assistance. But without the United States being a co-pillar in that, that would be a lot for Europe, Japan, Canada, and the UK to compensate. So the question is, do they have it within their stocks financially and also militarily to start to try to make that up? I think that there's thinking about that. You see that with Friedrich Merz's statement after the election, but it's going to have to happen on an extremely accelerated timetable.
Foreign policy expert Tyson Barker, it's been great to get your input. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you think the mineral deal is more to do with Trump needing to be seen as a win? Like it's something to accept purely for optics and Zelenskyy wasn't properly clued in about this? I just don't know. I think Trump is just trying to extract as much from any situation ever. Like, don't let a good crisis go to waste, like that saying, except on steroids. I think that's just what it feels like. My coworkers are all three flavors of Trump supporters. I went really hard on them before the election. Do you think I should change tact and try to be softer? I waffle back and forth a lot. For people in your personal life, you should always be soft, unless you don't care about their opinion. You'll never change somebody's mind in real life by being like super brutal. You always have to just kind of be soft, ask questions, poke and prod like very gently, and try to appeal to their values. Like, oh, when you voted for Trump, did you think he would have said this about Zelenskyy? Or do you think it's a good thing? Like, should America play a role here? Or do we feel like Russia's winning? Or I don't know. Like, you have to be gentle.
Oh, Christine, this is a lovely house.
It's Christineth. Are you stupid or are you deaf?
Christineth! You idiot! You come to our house, you get my wife's name right! What? Christineth!
I don't even know what movie this is, but okay.
Vice President.
Why? Harry! You're a big social media guy. What's going on here? Why can only my left hear hear this.
Vance was criticizing Zelenskyy for not saying thank you specifically during that meeting, those 40 to 50 minutes that we were in the Oval Office. But certainly, you know very well, Secretary Rubio, your time as a senator here in Washington, that whenever Zelenskyy has come to Washington before, he has very much expressed that kind of gratitude. Just listen to this.
Thank you for both financial packages you have already provided us.
Really, all my appreciations from my heart, from the heart of Ukrainians, all Ukrainians.
So what can I say to American people in English? My English is poor. To say all my messages and all my thanks to you.
And thank you very much for supporting us, our people.
Thank you, United States. Thank you, America.
Ukraine is grateful to the United States for its overwhelming support.
Do you think you can make the argument that he hasn't said thank you?
Well, I think the vice president said he hadn't said it today. He hadn't heard it today in that meeting. And we were hoping that meeting would begin by thank you for everything you've done for us. We wouldn't be where we are today without you. We wouldn't even have a chance.
Please, I'd like to say something.
No, thank you so much, Mr. President.
Oh my God, he said it! There you go. That's what he got. Okay, that took way longer than I thought it would. I thought it was gonna be like fucking 30 seconds. Me.
Chance that meeting would begin by thank you for everything you've done for us. We wouldn't be where we are today without you. We wouldn't even have a chance to negotiate a peace without the help you gave us. By the way,
also, I'm pretty sure Zelenskyy said almost this verbatim. We wouldn't have a chance without what the U.S. has provided so far. I think he said that verbatim. Is Rubio just quoting Zelenskyy in that?
Without the help you gave us when you were president in the first term, because President Obama refused to provide them defensive capabilities in terms of.
I don't even think that's true, but okay.
Maybe politics here. If you're just here for the pizza reviews, keep it moving. But I had to talk about this meeting with Zelenskyy, Trump, JD Vance at the White House. I posted on my Twitter yesterday. I said the most surreal thing I've ever seen in politics. Felt like I was watching Bravo TV. Just fascinating to see world leaders basically arguing with each other. With honestly the fate of like World War III in the world kind of in the balance in some respects. Now, before I get into it, that was just like the last 5-10 minutes. They're arguing of what I guess was like an hour and 15-minute meeting that was civil and friendly right up to the end. So it wasn't like Trump sat down as like wanted to be like gotcha and fight on cameras. That wasn't the plan. Now, having said all that, there's been two reactions to this meeting, and they both depend on whether you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump. If you're anti-Trump, you're basically saying this is the worst day in the history of America. We're basically the same as Russia and a dictator and Putin and evil, and it's a sad day when America like bullies a country that's been invaded, and on and on. And if you're pro-Trump, you're like, finally, somebody's sticking up for has been invaded, and it's a sad day when America like bullies a company that's been invaded, and on and on. And if you're pro-Trump, you're like, finally, somebody's sticking up for American citizens, American taxpayers. We're not just going to blindly keep handing billions to Zelenskyy with no end in sight to this war, and somebody has to basically say enough is enough, and we're not just your piggy bank. As usual with issues like this, I feel like it's a real gray area. One of the hardest things to do in all politics is decide when should the U.S. intervene with money, troops, whatever it may be in the world theater. Like, is it there's morality issues, there's safety issues. Like, if we don't jump in here, is this eventually going to create problems in the United States? I know we get the ocean, they're talking about the ocean, but World War II, when Hitler starts invading, eventually the war comes to us. So there's all these issues involved. For me, listen, I get Zelensky's country has been invaded. His troops, his countrymen dying. Their country has been ravaged by Putin and Russia. I get all that. So it's hard to be like, how could you act like this or not have some degree of compassion for Ukraine and what's going on there? Like,
why do people have I already know where he's going. I shouldn't. Maybe he won't go there. No, he is going. I know he's going there because everybody has this super cucked position. Like, I get this, bro, but realistically, what's going to happen? Like, fuck you. What do you mean? We're the United States of America. Like, that's never been an excuse for us before. Reality is not supposed to be what America has to bow down to and passively accept from the rest of the world, especially from losers like Putin. Why would we ever do that? It should be the other side. It should be Putin that has to go on Russian state media and say, listen, we were doing well in the war. Like, we should have won it. We should have had everything. But I mean, like, the reality is it's the USA. What do you want us to do? It's NATO. Like, these guys are like 2 generations ahead of us on planes because we lied about where we thought our tech was at. Like, we can't do all. Like, we're like, it's not there, but it is what it is. Why are we the ones making that statement? If you don't want to be involved, then just get the out of the negotiations. I don't know why Putin and Trump need to go have their own little two-person suck fest in Riyadh. I don't know why you have to do that. Just get the fuck out. If you're not going to go negotiate anything, like, imagine you're getting your ass whipped by some bully who's like, 4 years older than you. He was held back. He's like 100 pounds heavier than you. You're some like third grader getting the shit beat out of him by like 18-year-old. And you finally bring a teacher along. It's like, teacher, thank you. And then the teacher is there and he's like, yeah, wow, that dude's whipping your ass. And I see that that's happening. And yeah, damn, like, yeah, it's an ass whipping. Good luck, man. Like, what's the point of the U.S. even being involved in this? We're here to help Ukraine unilaterally, like, unconditionally surrender? Without even a security guarantee, then why are we negotiating at all? I just hate this cuck position. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with the US of A? What do you mean, what are we going to do? A billion different things.
Or not have some degree of compassion for Ukraine and what's going on there. Like, imagine if someone just invaded the United States and we couldn't really defend ourselves without the help of other people. But having said all that, I'm on Trump's side more than I'm on Zelensky's side here. This previous administration, Biden, has sat, beat their chest, warned, threatened Russia, Putin, called him a killer, a dictator, all the things Zelensky says. And what has that gotten us? Hundreds of billions of dollars given to Ukraine, and they're really no closer to ending this war. Seems like it just could go on forever with us footing the bill. I mean, again, the records say anywhere between $200-300 billion we've...
Which records? Oh, those are just Trump's empty statements that other world leaders like Macron have literally corrected him on, but okay.
Given to them for the defense, equal to more than all of Europe. So you have a new administration coming in, and clearly what the old administration had done did not help end this conflict at all. And Zelensky shows up at the White House, and you can say whatever you want about Trump. It's pretty universal. He takes signs of disrespect personally. He's very much about, respect and other things. So Zelensky shows up, and he's wearing his sweatshirt and his customary outfit, which is his way of essentially saying, like, I'm at war. I don't have time to play politics or any of this other stuff. And one of Trump's reporters, who pro-Trump, he's like, why won't you just throw on a suit? And I think Zelensky's like, I'll throw on your outfit, your costume once the war is over. For me, this is just stupid by Zelensky. Like, we get you're at war, but you're coming to meet a new administration. And it's just a sign of disrespect not to show the same level of respect the Oval Office that Trump...
Like, first of all, were they even in the Oval Office? That, I don't know how big the Oval Office counts, because I'm pretty sure Elon has been in the Oval Office without wearing a suit all the fucking time. Like, hello? Why do we not care about him? And he's not even at war! Except maybe the war of his own mind, okay? Where he's on fucking ketamine 24/7. Like, what...
clearly thinks it deserves. And he said it, Trump, right away. He's like, oh, thanks for dressing up. Like, Zelensky had to know this. So he's coming in right off the jump. It's like, we're going to butt heads. I'm not going to bend the knee. I'm not going to show respect. I'm not really going to say thank you for billions and billions and billions of dollars that the United States has given us. That would piss me off, dude, if I was Trump. And then when you're in the meeting, he's just hard-headed and cutting Trump and Vance off. And again, it's not even whether you agree.
Cutting Trump off? Fucking J.D. Vance would lay into this dude for 4 minutes. Zelensky would start to respond for 3 seconds. And then all of a sudden, Trump would cut him off. Come on, are you serious?
With Zelensky, because his country's been through hell and back, but it's like, they need the United States. They should show some deference to, or thank you to the American taxpayers. We don't have to continually foot this bill. So, like, the antagonistic tone
Okay, but it's different. Zelensky's wearing the fatigues for a political purpose to begin with. Elon's just lumpy and autistic. Elon is not autistic. Elon does not have autism. He's just a fucking loser. I don't know where this Elon is autistic thing comes from. He's not. He's a fucking loser. Like, look at the way that he interacts with people. Look at the way that he texts people. Look at the actions that he takes. It's not just autism is when you can't dress yourself. Well, that's so fucking retarded. Unless Elon was actually legitimately, like, show me video footage of him wiling out and beating the shit out of people because he can't control his body. Like, that level of autism. An autistic person knows how to get dressed, and he's the richest man in the world. He could pay somebody to tell him how to dress. If he doesn't want to wear a suit, I don't give a fuck. I'm not on convention like that. That's fine. But don't sit here and act all high and mighty because fucking a dude who's single-handedly leading his country through annihilation, okay, against a nuclear power, one of the superpowers of the world, okay, decides to show up wearing what he feels is an outfit appropriate. That's so stupid.
He takes with it, and even more so, like, I respect or understand Trump not wanting to vilify Putin. The last administration did it every single chance they could get. It got us nowhere. Trump made it very clear. He wants diplomacy. He wants to end the death. He wants to end this war. Zelensky is just, Putin's the devil, Putin's a killer, Putin's this, Putin's that. What good is it for Trump to echo those statements? The past president did it, got us nowhere. If the United States is going to do what everybody needs and wants it to be done, get a peace agreement, a ceasefire that Putin actually respects, maybe Putin will be more likely to respect it, honor it, if you don't have a country and a president who's constantly calling him a killer and genocide and all this stuff. Somebody that Putin maybe has some degree of...
Elon literally admitted he has Asperger's on SNL like 4 years ago. That's great. First of all, Asperger's didn't technically exist 4 years ago. It's all on autism spectrum disorder. Secondly, Asperger's is like the lightest form of autism. Autism, being an Aspie, having Asperger's doesn't mean that you don't know what dress is appropriate, right? It's not a severely learning disabled person. It's not somebody with Down... I don't even want to say with Down syndrome, because I'm pretty sure even a person with Down syndrome would know like when it's appropriate to dress in certain ways or not. You're somebody who doesn't know how to put clothes on or doesn't know what is appropriate to wear at what place. This is like a low functioning autistic person that needs 24/7 care because they can't walk downstairs without throwing themselves down to their death. Okay? Jesus.
Relationship with, and when Trump sits down and tries to broker a deal with Ukraine and Russia, we get a deal done. Like, it does no good if they're just going to both sit there like we've done for the last 4 years or whatever and just crucify Russia and crucify Putin and then turn around and be like, hey, sign this peace agreement. So I get Trump, and he said it. He's like, the other side thinks you're a pretty bad guy. So I think Zelenskyy, and again, this isn't to take away what the Ukrainian people have gone through and how awful it is to be invaded, but show some deference and some willingness to get a deal together and show some respect for Trump in the office. And this is who the American people elected, rather than coming in trying to be like, it's my way or the highway, which is the vibe I got from Zelenskyy. Like, you're going to have to move a little bit, a lot of it, and hopefully Putin will move a little bit, a lot of it, and we can get a deal done. But whatever happened with the old administration is done, did not work. And what good is giving hundreds of billions of dollars in aid if we're going to be in the same spot in another 4 years? Like, we're just an endless piggy bank? What does that do to the United States?
Wait, what is this? What is all this? Hello? Did he just recently develop autism? Where did all the, are these deep fake AI pictures? What's going on here? Is this a tuxedo? What's going, how does he? Really makes you think, huh?
So I don't necessarily have the answers, but I think Trump and Vance handled this as well as they could. Like, we're not going to just get steamrolled by Zelenskyy at the expense of getting a deal done. And if that means we have to throw a couple flowers at Putin, so be it.
Oh God, is this going to be an opposite day tweet or?
On Discord, I hated this, and I posted about this on Discord. I hated this because it's like, yeah, they get this midget to stand next to Trump and act like a little beta male, and then they bitch him around. And JD Vance farms the clip bullying him. They're like, yeah, what the fuck? Why are we giving you so much money? And then when Netanyahu's there the week prior,
oh fuck, it's like he's going to say good things about Zelenskyy, but it's through the lens of his hatred of Israel. Do we take it?
Everyone is, well, Mr. President, sir, Mr. Netanyahu, pushing in the chair. And they're all tweeting like, yeah, this is America. We're the boss here. We're not giving you money. Did you forget Zelenskyy was an actor, literally? He was paid to be on stage. Trump was a reality television pioneer. This is all theater. They agreed beforehand, okay, we're going to bitch Zelenskyy around on camera. Oh, just a debate that happened to be live. They set up this. You think Netanyahu would ever let himself get bitched on camera like that? No, because he's in charge of America. They do this to Zelenskyy to get everybody back on their side, to make us forget that we're giving all our tax dollars away to countries that we don't care about or need. That's the annoying part. It was like, fuck yeah, tell that Zelenskyy that we're not giving him nothing. Keep the same energy next time Netanyahu's in. God damn.
Good one. It's sad because I like Portnoy in a lot of ways. I just don't know. It's like the Joe Roganification of everything. That like I don't know. Everybody has to have strong opinions on every complex foreign policy issue.